Nothing says solidarity among a group of people more than unnecessarily drawing lines in the sand where you don't really need to. Find out more what this is about here on New Socialist Era, bringing it to you as I always do. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for listening and all that wonderful shit. Make sure you leave a comment down below and leave a like, whatever. But anyway, more and more over the past, say, few weeks or so, especially, I've been noticing this trend among the left, the actual left, not just a bunch of centrists who call themselves on the left, but they're just, capitalist bootlicks. Um, hate to say it like that, but that's just what they tend to be. Um, but on this trend, this trend on the left that like calling out other socialists for not actually being socialist enough, or is saying that their version of socialism is the real deal and the other kind of socialism is fake, or it's another version of capitalism. um, I find this trend disturbing because, like I said in the intro, and then it unnecessarily draws all these lines in the sand where we really don't, at least in my opinion, we don't really need to be putting that kind of any kind of that energy into to doing that, versus just trying to get people on board with the idea of workplace democracy, decommodifying basic human services, things like that, and maybe getting them more into understanding what it is to be on the left, or to be actually on the real actual socialist left, not trying to nitpick each other, within the socialist, community itself. I mean, technically, I'm criticizing the whole thing right now, but if anything, it's just a response to what's initially been started by those who feel that they are the real socialists, and the other ones who call themselves socialists are just, they're not actually socialists. They're just they're fakes or whatever. It's one thing to call out, Bernie Sanders or AOC who call themselves socialists. Even though they seem to be wanting to preserve capitalism, they just want to do some nice things like social programs, or taxing the rich more regulation, that sort of thing. I understand that. That's definitely that's definitely a thing. But the problem is, there's a difference between AOC and Bernie Sanders versus people like myself who are actually wanting to get the workers out of the grips of the elite ownership class, to where at least they have a say at their businesses on how their workplaces are operated, how their you know benefits are decided on, and all that. Not just more of the same thing, or a little bit more of an improvement, but not really. There's a huge difference between, like I said, people like myself and Bernie Sanders. And the thing is, the reason Bernie Sanders and AOC call themselves socialists, if you don't know already, is because they're going to be called socialists anyway. They might as just own the label. So I understand why they do it. At least they have, like, the political environment in the United States and a lot of other places too seem to have, they call anything, people on the political right wing, economic right, so, call anything they don't like socialist. So at least AOC and Bernie Sanders are owning the label, even though they're not actually being socialist. They're owning it, and they're at least desensitizing people to the word itself. But as far as this nitpicky attitude that some have fostered on the left towards other leftists is really counterproductive. I just had a conversation with someone in the comments section on a video that was talking about it. I won't say who, but of course, but they're trying to say like, it's still capitalism because it has markets, for example. And I'm like, markets are not inherently capitalist. They've been around they've been around for a long time, since the Big Bang, really. And the yeah, it's just really goofy to me. It's like, and they want to try to talk shit like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, and of course, after I point that out, they don't mention it. They kind of leave out that part and say, "Oh, hey, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry." Um, it's just really goofy. I think a lot of it has to come down to just like, I want to be more socialister than them, or I'm the real socialist. Pay attention to me. I'm the one that you gotta listen to. I think it has a lot to do with appearance and ego, and it is kind of larpy, really. Me, at least, I'm presenting these ideas to people who are you know, maybe not on board or maybe not on board at all with you know, the socialist idea because they've been exposed to so much propaganda and bullshit. I mean, 20 plus years of talking politics really has helped me to um, be able to convey what we're trying to do here on the left in a way that breaks down a lot of the propaganda. I think that's important work. I'm pretty sure those same leftists won't begrudge me that, at least hopefully. But it just, this seems to be this unnecessary dividing up, you know, pitting each leftist against, like, you know, we need more of that kind of drama, right? One leftist against another, just straight up, like we need that shit. We need that like a hole in the head. We need to organize and solidify our base as best as we can, as quickly as we can, unless we want to see this country fall into actual fascism, not just half-ass cowboy wannabe, you know, proto-fascism like under Trump was. Um, at least how he acted toward his political opponents anyway. Then last thing we need is a competent version of Trump running the GOP and the GOP having a fucking a solid majority or a solid enough of a majority in the House and Senate for them to really do what they want to do. Yeah, that's the last thing we fucking need. But anyway, I just want to point this out. Like, it's really just more useless infighting. I'm kind of, you know, just making this video, I'm kind of guilty of it as well, but I'm trying to push back of what's initially been put out there. At least I'm willing to admit that much. But come on, really, as long as you, as a person, call yourself socialist and you're advocating for at least democratizing the workplace, meaningfully putting it in the power, the deciding power into the hands of the workers themselves, and for decommodification of basic human services, I think that makes you socialist enough. Maybe not socialist enough according to some others, right? Because some people are like to the far left socialist, and they want like no money, no classes, and no state. And I get it, and that's cool. Hey, yeah, that's communism. It's all shades of gray, but I understand like somebody calling himself a socialist, but if they're calling themselves a socialist and they're against the idea of democratizing the workplace and decommodification or decommodifying basic services, then yeah, call them out, absolutely. But other than that, I see this as useless energy, and even though I'm putting a bit of energy into it, but I'm trying to explain what's so half-assed backwards about it. Can't we just focus on solidarity, what really matters, versus just trying to nitpicking each other to death? I mean, that'd be great. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. If you made it to the end of this video, hey, you're a real trooper. Thanks for listening, and I will see y'all around.